as always. I like to keep it juicy, and by that I mean being real, being raw, being honest, talking about things that others may not talk about, because honestly, a lot of it can be uncomfortable. I've talked about my cancer journey. I've talked about my relationship with alcohol, my mental health journey. And if you follow me on Instagram at misschester, ms.chester_NJ, I share everything. I share my roles. I share my double chin. I share my body, something that's, if anything's like uncomfortable, I want to make everyone feel comfortable and less alone. So today I want to talk about my previous eating disorder, maybe eating disorders. And it all stems back from, where does it stem back from? So growing up, it's actually interesting. Both of my parents weren't really foodies. They really ate to live, and I lived to eat. And so they had a really healthy relationship with alcohol. They would eat their food. They wouldn't finish it. They would eat when they're hungry. My dad still eats like a bird, I'll be done with my meal before he has even taken one bite. So I just ate whatever I wanted. When I was young, I played soccer. I played basketball. I was super active. And so I always just ate what I want, bagels, everything like that. And then it was senior year of high school when I stopped playing soccer, when I said, I really need to assess and analyze my relationship with food and what I'm eating and how it is affecting my body. I don't know if you know, there's a trend. I assess and analyze things a lot, which can be good, but can also be detrimental. So I started on this journey in high school of eating super healthy. I would boil chicken. I literally remember getting chicken, boiling it in the kitchen. It was just white. And I would eat that with a vegetable. Why? Why would I do that? So I started to form an unhealthy relationship with food that brought me to, I would say, my first eating disorder, which is binge eating disorder, which people don't really talk about. You hear about anorexia, bulimia a lot, and binge eating disorder is, they call it BED. And forgive me if I'm wrong with the exact terminology, but where you really restrict yourself and then eventually you binge eat and you just can't stop and you just keep eating. So I got into this groove or this motion of restricting myself. I want to eat bagels. I want to eat donuts. I want to eat pizza. I want to eat anything that I would deem unhealthy or carbohydrates that would make me feel fat, I guess. So I would just eat super healthy, what I thought was healthy. So again, boiled chicken, grilled chicken, salad. I remember I would get those smart ones, desserts that were all portioned out. Everything was portioned out. So I would do that for a few days, and then I would break the cycle. And if I ate a donut, I would eat probably 5 or 6 donuts. And then I would go on and eat something else that I was restricting myself from. And this is interesting because then I became a registered dietitian. So as a registered dietitian, you go to school. I took all the classes that, medical students took. And then I went to the College of St. Elizabeth for my internship. You sit for an exam, like an RN, but you're a registered dietitian. And so there's a lot of science background and that kind of stuff. And you really find, with all the other registered dietitians, we usually have an interesting relationship with food. We either love it or we hate it. So there are a lot of registered dietitians in their lifetime who have had eating disorders, whether it's anorexia, bulimia, binge eating disorder. A lot of people have gone and been, they've gone to be those, I forget what it's called, bodybuilders. So it's really that control over food that they like to have. And there's actually a really good follow who was in my internship. Her name is Lauren Cadillac. Her maiden name is Lauren Cadillac. And I believe her Instagram is Feel Good Dietitian. And she's actually has a lot of followers. As I say, she's famous. And she does a lot of intuitive eating, and she teaches people how to intuitively eat. And what that really means is, assessing your body, what you're feeling and eating until you're full and not restricting yourself. That restriction is really what brings you to that binge eating portion. So I had binge eating disorder for a few years. So I would, again, restrict myself, and then I would gorge until I was so full I would almost be sick. And I think probably I was sick at some times. And then when I went to college, so I must have had binge eating disorder a little bit in high school. And then I went to college and I gained the freshman 15 And then during the second semester, I was weighing my food out and measuring it so I didn't go over 1,300 calories for the whole second semester. I dropped 25 pounds. I was the thinnest I had been. It wasn't anorexia. That's what I said, eating disorders potentially, because I was eating. I was just eating below the limit. I was working out twice a day sometimes, and that's sometimes called exercise anorexia. So where you're really, really working out to make an effect on your body rather than for healthful reasons. So I lost weight then. Eventually, a little bit later in college, I grew to have a better relationship with alcohol. Not alcohol, I'm sorry. A better relationship with food. But it really wasn't until I was probably 25 or 26 where I really started to have a healthy relationship with alcohol. And I mean, the last 5-6 years, did I say alcohol again? Am I drunk right now? A really healthy relationship with food. And now it's like, I eat whatever I want. I would never have eaten donuts in the morning. I wouldn't have eaten past a certain time. I would feel so much guilt if I ate certain foods like bagels, donuts, muffins. Never ate muffins, barely ate butter. And I look back at myself and I look at myself now, like I make homemade butter to put on my homemade muffins and my bagels and my English muffins. And I eat fast food now. Right before this, I just had McDonald's. And for a long time, I thought McDonald's was the devil. I never ate Wendy's. Taco Bell was the devil. And again, maybe it's not the best choice, but that shit is delicious. And every once in a while, you should eat it. And it's so good. And you have to eat something anyway. You're going to eat something, whether it's a sub or a salad, anything. You have to nourish your body. And the most important thing is balance. Everything in moderation. If you want a piece of cake, have a piece of cake. If you don't have that piece of cake and you keep thinking about that piece of cake, you're eventually not going to have a piece. You're going to eat the whole thing. That's where intuitive eating kind of comes into place. And that's where my binge eating disorder, I would push it off. I would say, no. And then I would eat 6 donuts. But what if I just had a donut a day? It would be the exact same thing. So that's where, a lot of people have disordered eating. All of us have a form of disordered eating. It's not an eating disorder. It's just a relationship with food. So certain things that you do, certain habits that you have, that kind of stuff. But I think it's just super important to remember that, it's not about your body image. Mine was all related to my body image. I wanted to stay a size 6. I didn't want to gain weight in college. I couldn't go up to a double-digit size in my pants. I was always embarrassed of my weight. If I was going up, I was, I remember this number, 136 in high school, went up to, 155, 160, then 180. And I was just weighed at the doctor and I was like 199. And people will say, oh, you're 199, you're almost 200. It doesn't look like it. And what does that even mean? It's, it could be muscle. It could be, there's definitely fat here, but it's just a little cushion for the pushing, as they say. It doesn't matter what you look like. People aren't going to remember what pant size you are, what weight you are. All of these things don't matter. I don't have a scale. Well, we do have a scale at home. I don't use it. Mr. Chester does, because he likes to see how much weight he might lose overnight from sweating. I don't freaking know. I don't know. It's weird. I don't care. If my pants fit, I don't care about anything. And I've been working out 3 times a week and my pants are getting looser. Am I going to go weigh myself to see if I lost weight? No, because I literally don't care. What I care about is what I'm going to eat for my next meal and how it's going to make me feel so happy, and if I'm going to try a new restaurant today. It's just interesting coming from a place of a really unhealthy relationship with food to now I couldn't have a better relationship with food. And I think just really analyzing that and making sure that you're living life to your fullest and enjoying food that you like, and don't push things off. Again, I am a registered dietitian. I, know the science behind food. I'm not an intuitive eater. No, I am an intuitive eater. I'm not an intuitive eating coach, anything like that. But if you feel like you have these similar things going on that I'm talking about that I had, then I would highly recommend looking up intuitive eating. And for a long time, I would always say to myself, I cannot believe I let so much of my mind and my time to be thinking about my weight and food. It was surrounded by it. And now it's a little bit surrounded by food just because I'm so excited to eat things. I eat butter. I eat whatever the hell I want, and I work out a lot and I feel strong, and I just don't let it overcome you and, take everything away from you. Just enjoy the food. Again, your pant size doesn't matter. These are just numbers. Your weight doesn't matter. People are not going to remember these things about you. And I just highly recommend that you, eat a delicious meal today because you deserve it. And croissants are delicious and donuts are delicious and butter is literally delicious. And if you haven't had McDonald's in 10 years because you think it's really bad for you, then I highly recommend that you get a Quarter Pounder because it is also delicious. And so thank you again I didn't say thank you once, and I just said thank you again. Thank you for listening to Keeping It Juicy, and I hope you enjoy your day and have a delicious meal. Thank you for listening to this episode of Keeping It Juicy. You can find this episode and all the rest on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. And as always, don't forget, keep it juicy.